starting my 2017 southbound hike of Maine's 100-mile wilderness.
Camped out at Rainbow Lake last night at one of the sites that's just 0.2 miles off the Appalachian Trail. Had a good night. It rained a little during the night. I tried a little fishing before I went to bed. The trout were rising, but they were rising just beyond where I could cast to. All right, time to get at it. Kudos to the trail maintainers, because look how wet this would be if those dudes didn't come along and put these rocks down. I know there's a brook trout down in there somewhere. All right, so I'm at the Rainbow Stream lean-to, a cool little lean-to right on the stream. I stopped there for some breakfast. Real nice just walking along the river. Sitting on top of Nesentebut Mountain overlooking Namacanta Lake with Mount Katahdin in the background. Alright, went up and over Nesentebut. Now this is the Wadley Stream lean-to, but it's only 4 o'clock, so I'm not stopping now. Namacanta Lake. So this is probably some of the weirder things I've seen out here. And then I see a pair of bronzed baby shoes. Tell me that's not some of the weirdest things you see out here on the Appalachian Trail. Alright, so it's 5 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, Namacanta Lake in the background. Getting an early start this morning so I can get some good miles in. Alright, so I just crossed Tumble Down Dick Stream and the metal staircase that I see in almost every single 100-mile wilderness video. Because of the remoteness of the area, you're not expecting to see metal staircase in the middle of the 100-mile wilderness. Out here on Pemmadumcook Lake, I just stopped for lunch. Here it is, day 3. You probably can't see, there's Katahdin in the background. Potawajo Spring lean-to. But this time of the day, there's no time for stopping right now. You gotta keep moving. Because, have you ever seen a better looking privy? Crazy. Alright, good morning. Today is morning of day 4 out on the 100-mile wilderness. Stayed at Antlers campsite last night, beautiful campsite. Had a spot pretty much right on the water. The last night it didn't rain or anything, so my tent's perfectly dry. So I was able to put it inside my pack this morning instead of lashing it to the outside of my pack. And boy, what a difference in pack weight, or felt pack weight. Cooper Brook. This is like perfect moose habitat. I've been hanging out here for a minute or two. 40 miles in on the trail. Picked up my resupply bag. So I just crossed the Joe Mary Road, and the plan will be to have lunch at Crawford Pond and then tackle Whitecap tomorrow. Cooper Brook. We're right at the Cooper Brook lean-to. It's a cool little lean-to right there. Right along the brook. Okay, so this is pretty exciting. I hear some hounds coming. I bet $1,000 there. Bear hounds on a bear. How cool would it be to get to see my bear this morning? On top of Little Boardman Mountain. Alright, so just summited Little Boardman, which isn't really much of a mountain. At least you got the chance to see a little something other than just woods. And gone 13 miles so far today, and like I said, it's about 1:30, so not sure how many more miles I'm going to go. I'm scheduled to go 3 more, but I'm going to check out the map and see what it is for tent sites along there, and I may just keep pushing through. Sometimes the coldest and the best water comes out of the smallest little spring. I tell you, I just had a big drink of that. That is probably the coldest water I've had in a long time. So this is the east branch of the Pleasant River. This is the water source for the shelter that I'm staying in tonight. This is probably the grossest water. It's like a frog pond. So 7 o'clock, I'm just leaving the East Branch lean-to. It rained last night, so I slept in a little bit. I slept in till about 6:15 or so, and got up, got going. Since my tent's all wet, I kind of laced it to the back of the pack, which is not ideal because it's kind of pulling me backwards, particularly as I go up Whitecap today, but hey, it is what it is. When you have your heart set on getting some spring water, but then spring's dry. Alright, we're at the Logan Brook lean-to. Just stopping here for some water, take a quick break before I head up to, ultimately today, I'm going up to Whitecap and then staying at the Carl Newhall lean-to tonight, 7.2 miles. Alright, so I'm about a mile north of Whitecap, headed south, so I got a mile to go to get to the summit of Whitecap Mountain. But there's supposed to be a view out here. I want to make my way out. Whoa. Look at this view. God. Getting closer to the summit of Whitecap. These views are just spectacular. I'm never going to get to the top. I keep stopping just to look at these views, man. They're crazy. So there's Katahdin. You can just see it. I'm on top of Whitecap right now. These views are just crazy. I'm 57.5 miles in on the 100-mile wilderness, and these are really some of the first vistas that I've been able to see. Just amazing in all directions, and the only way you can get up here is to hike up here. It's just amazing views everywhere you look. I got a couple more peaks. I gotta hit Hay Peak, and then I gotta get West Peak, and then down to Newhall Shelter. I'm either gonna hit that or I'm gonna blast through and head down towards the Gulf Vegas. We'll see when I get there. So I'm at the Sydney Tap-In campsite. There's a spring here, only the spring is dry. I wasn't going to stop here to spend the night, but I was going to stop and fill up on water. I'm getting down to about a cup of water. Basically the water now is the next shelter, and that's 1.8 miles. So that's where I'll be headed. So I'm nearly at the top of the Gulf Haggis Peak. And what's crazy is all along the trail, I've seen just today probably 50 piles of moose poop. Look at this. Tell me this isn't crazy. That is a lot of moose poop. So I'm at the tent sites at the Newhall lean-to, and I just got to camp, and so I'm doing a couple chores. I should have laid my sleeping bag and my tent out to dry earlier. I mean, I was on Whitecap Mountain for over an hour. They would have dried out in 5 minutes up there. But it was pretty windy, and I was eating lunch and shooting the breeze and like that, so I didn't. So I'm just letting it air out a little bit before I put it up. Just laid out my footprint and boiled my water. Put my water in my Mountain House meal. Tonight I'm having lasagna with meat sauce, and then I'll probably do a ramen after that. Got to the campsite, and I just take everything out of my pack because I'm going to need everything that's in there tonight anyway. I've already filtered my water, so I've filtered 2 liters of water. That'll get me through tonight and coffee in the morning. I'll filter another 2 liters in the morning, and then I'll drink a liter before I leave. It's kind of the nighttime routine here. There's no other tenters, so there's a few sites scattered here around, but there's no other tenters over here. So hopefully it'll be a nice, peaceful, quiet night. So another thing I'm happy about is I've eaten all my food for the day except for that ramen noodle, and I'm going to have that for dessert probably. I realized this morning when I was looking at my food and what I had left that I just had too much food, so I gave away some tuna packets and some oatmeal first thing this morning to a couple young guys who were headed north. And then when I was having lunch on Whitecap, an older section hiker who was finishing up his hike named Johnny Walker, he had a food drop coming, but for whatever reason he was cut a little short, so I gave him a bagel and a tuna packet and a Snickers bar, and he was beside himself with thanks. And just nice guy. We had talked for a little bit, and he was happy. It's, hikers helping hikers, and it helped me because now my pack's lighter. I don't want to leave here with a bunch of food. So this is Thursday, and I'm just leaving my camp spot. Today I'm going up over Chairback Mountain and Columbus Mountain. I was gonna spend the night at the Chairback Gap lean-to, and tent around there, but there's a pond which might give me one chance to do a little fishing, so that's where I'm gonna go to shoot for. So it's gonna be like a 12-mile day. So it'll be about the same as yesterday, maybe just 1 mile longer than what I was going to do. But if it gets me to a place where maybe there'll be a canoe in there, it's worth a try anyway. It's just 1 more mile. So about 70 miles in on the 100-mile wilderness, just forded the west branch of the Pleasant River. It's about shin deep, nothing to get too excited about. So moving on. 30 miles to go till I'll be all finished. But first, today I gotta go up and over Chairback Mountain. So I feel like a lot of ways I only video when the trail's nice and flat. Well, that's because that's the only time I really can video. Well, I just came up this, That's just on the north end of Chairback Gap. I think I'm about a mile from the outcropping where you're supposed to be able to get a pretty good look at whitecap. So the map shows a little rock slide, and I figured I just did it. And then I come around the corner, and then I see the trail goes right up there. Good stuff. I'm at Chairback Gap lean-to. This is where I'm supposed to spend the night tonight, but it's only 4. I'm gonna keep trucking. There's a pond that's about another 1.75 miles down the trail that I want to camp at tonight, so off I go. So it's 7:30 today. This is Friday, and so I got a really late start. It's 7:30, and I just now got packed up. I did take time this morning to go fishing. I didn't catch any, which isn't surprising given the time of year. There was nothing rising out front last night, so I paddled a canoe. Had a canoe with a life jacket and an anchor and a paddle, so I took that and fished for an hour this morning. So today, this is where I'm at right now, and this is where I need to be at tonight. So today I'm going over 3rd Mountain, 4th Mountain, Barren Mountain, Barren Ledges, and then down past Long Pond Stream lean-to. All right, the summit of Barren Mountain. Probably the last, well, it's definitely the last summit. And the trusty tower, or what's left of the tower.
Spent my last night in the 100-mile wilderness camped along this stream. I didn't get many videos on the last day as I was hiking about 15 miles out to the main road on Route 11, where I finally found this sign waiting for me in Monson. Finished at 7 o'clock at night on my 8th day in the wilderness.